Cannibalism. The word itself elicits a visceral reaction. It conjures images of savage tribes, gruesome rituals, and unspeakable acts. It is a subject shrouded in taboo, fear, and fascination. But what is the truth behind this deeply unsettling practice? Is it the sole domain of monsters and madmen, or is there more to the story? This essay delves into the history of cannibalism, exploring both the myths and the realities. We'll journey from ancient burial grounds to modern-day courtrooms, examining the motivations behind this complex and often misunderstood phenomenon. By understanding the past, we can confront our own fears and gain a deeper understanding of the human capacity for both darkness and survival. The truth, as we shall discover, is far more nuanced than the sensationalized stories we often hear. Cannibalism has existed across cultures and throughout history, driven by a range of factors from spiritual beliefs to desperate hunger. It is a practice both horrifying and, at times, tragically understandable. The word cannibal itself is rooted in misconception. Derived from the term Carib, it originated with Christopher Columbus's encounters with indigenous peoples in the Caribbean. Columbus and many Europeans after him often portrayed indigenous populations as savage cannibals, using these claims to justify colonization and exploitation. These early accounts often exaggerated or fabricated instances of cannibalism, fueling a narrative of European superiority and civilizing missions. The myth of the savage cannibal became deeply embedded in the Western imagination, influencing literature, art, and popular culture for centuries to come. These misconceptions often overshadowed the reality that cannibalism, when it did occur, was rarely the result of wanton cruelty. It was often tied to specific cultural practices, beliefs, or, in some cases, the brutal necessity of survival. Evidence suggests that cannibalism has been practiced since prehistoric times. Archaeological findings from various corners of the globe, including Europe, North America, and South America, point to potential instances of cannibalistic behavior among early hominids. At sites like Grandolina in Spain and Moulagursi Cave in France, researchers have uncovered human bones bearing cut marks and other signs of butchering consistent with those found on animal remains from the same period. While the exact motivations behind these practices remain uncertain, some scientists theorize that competition for resources, territorial disputes, or even ritualistic practices may have played a role. It is important to note that interpreting archaeological evidence is a complex task. While suggestive, these findings don't definitively prove cannibalism was a common or widespread practice in prehistory. In some cultures, cannibalism was not an act of barbarity, but rather a deeply spiritual practice. Endocannibalism, the consumption of members of one's own group, was often performed as a way to honor deceased relatives or to absorb their strength and wisdom. The Fore people of Papua New Guinea, for example, practiced a form of ritualistic cannibalism known as transumption. They believed that consuming the remains of their loved ones, particularly the brain, would create a spiritual connection and ensure the deceased's spirit lived on within them. This practice, while deeply unsettling to outsiders, held profound cultural and spiritual significance within their society. It is essential to approach these practices with cultural sensitivity and avoid imposing our own modern-day moral judgments on the beliefs and customs of the past. Section 5. Survival cannibalism, the hunger within. While ritualistic cannibalism was often driven by spiritual beliefs, survival cannibalism is a stark reminder of the extremes humans will resort to in the face of starvation. Throughout history, there have been numerous documented cases of groups resorting to cannibalism when faced with famine, isolation, or other life-threatening situations. One of the most well-known examples is the Donner Party, a group of American pioneers who became snowbound in the Sierra Nevada mountains during the winter of 1846. As their food supplies dwindled, the desperate group resorted to consuming the bodies of the deceased in order to survive. The Donner Party's story, while harrowing, is not unique. From the Jamestown colony in 17th century America to the besieged city of Leningrad during World War II, history is replete with grim tales of survival cannibalism, a testament to the resilience and depravity of the human spirit when pushed to the brink. Section 6. The Fore People, a case study in Kuru. The four people of Papua New Guinea, mentioned earlier for their practice of transumption, also provide a tragic example of the potential health consequences of cannibalism. In the mid-20th century, they began experiencing an epidemic of a fatal neurological disorder known as kuru. Kuru, meaning to tremble in the Fore language, caused severe neurological degeneration, leading to tremors, loss of coordination, and eventually death. Medical researchers eventually traced the transmission of kuru to the practice of consuming human brains, particularly among women and children, who were often given the brains of the deceased. This discovery highlighted the dangers of prion diseases, a rare group of fatal brain disorders caused by misfolded proteins. The four people's experience with kuru served as a stark reminder that while cannibalism may hold cultural significance in some societies, it can also carry severe health risks. Section 7: Modern Manifestations, from Donapati to Armin Meiwes. While the incidence of cannibalism has significantly decreased in modern times, it has not entirely vanished. Sensationalized cases, often involving extreme violence or mental illness, continue to capture headlines and horrify the public. One such case is that of Armin Meiwes, a German man who, in 2001, killed and ate a willing victim he had met online. This case shocked the world and sparked debates about morality, consent, and the dark side of human desire. It is important to emphasize that cases like Meiwes's are exceedingly rare and are not representative of cannibalism as a whole. They are often the result of complex psychological factors and should not overshadow the historical and cultural context of this complex phenomenon. Section 8: Cannibalism and Culture, a Complex Relationship. Understanding cannibalism requires moving beyond simplistic notions of savagery and recognizing the intricate interplay of cultural beliefs, survival instincts, and human psychology. It is a phenomenon that defies easy categorization and demands a nuanced approach. While some cultures practiced cannibalism as a means of spiritual connection or ancestor veneration, others resorted to it out of desperate necessity in the face of starvation. In some cases, it was used as a tool of war, a way to instill fear in enemies or to desecrate their remains. It is crucial to approach this subject with sensitivity and to avoid imposing our own modern-day values on the practices of the past. By studying cannibalism through a historical and cultural lens, we can gain a deeper understanding of the diverse range of human behavior and the complexities of the human experience. Section 9: Conclusion: Facing our fears, understanding our past. Cannibalism remains a deeply unsettling and taboo subject, conjuring up primal fears and forcing us to confront the darker aspects of human nature. It is a topic that simultaneously repels and fascinates, challenging our understanding of morality, culture, and survival. By delving into the history of cannibalism, we begin to see beyond the sensationalized stories and confront the complex realities behind this practice. We encounter cultures with vastly different beliefs and practices, and witness the extremes humans will resort to when pushed to the brink of survival. While we may never fully comprehend the motivations behind every instance of cannibalism, studying this phenomenon allows us to engage with our past, challenge our preconceptions, and gain a deeper understanding of the multifaceted nature of the human experience. It is a journey into the darkest corners of history, one that forces us to confront both our fears and our shared humanity.